Hello there and welcome to the most watched business show in the country. This is the Business Weekly Show here on City TV and I am your host Michael Obodu. Please follow me on Twitter at @mobodu. In the next 1 hour, I'll be bringing you a wrap of all the major business news stories for the week. If you're ready, let's go. If you thought you'd seen the worst with the hikes in fuel prices, then you have to brace yourselves for more because the next increment will see petrol sell for over 10 Ghana cedis per litre. This is quite alarming after commencing the year with prices at the pump are just over 6 Ghana cedis. But what could be the cause of this latest increment?
The Institute for Energy Security, IES, is projecting a rise in price of gasoline, that's petrol, ranging from 5% to 9% over the current price, but some form of stability in the prices of gas oil, that's diesel, and liquefied petroleum gas, LPG, beginning June 2022. Per the IES market scan, the current national average price is pegged at 9 cedis 75 pesos per litre and 11 cedis 71 pesos per litre for gasoline and gas oil respectively. But the Institute for Energy Security says on the back of the cedi's depreciation and the 11.05% jump in the price of gasoline on the international fuel market, gasoline in Ghana is set to sell above 10 Ghana cedis per litre, which translates into 45 cedis per gallon. The price of gas oil may cross the 12 cedis per litre mark, that's 54 cedis per gallon, across most OMCs in spite of the drop in price on the world market owing to the decline in the value of the cedi against the greenback. To address this trend, which stakeholders have termed worrying, the Chamber of Petroleum Consumers Ghana (COPEC) believes if no drastic interventions are made immediately, the situation will become dire in the coming weeks. Executive Secretary of the Chamber, Duncan Amwa, has been speaking to City Business News.
What you can control are your safety nets, and for which reason Ghana's first president thought it wise to have a refinery on standby so that when Ghana gets crude in commercial quantities, we could be self-reliant without depending on Europe for our petroleum needs. Unfortunately, at the time that we started producing crude in commercial quantities, since 2010 till now, the refinery has not been that productive. If you refined, you save your economy the pressure of being a price taker, that whatever happens in Europe, you pay for it. Whatever spot prices that Russia, Ukraine will throw at the international market space, you pay for it. If you had a local refinery that could take crude around, right, process and supply to the market, that pressure or that hit you take from the international market is contained.
It's been about a month since the implementation of the electronic transfer levy. But how are you coping with it? Have you gotten used to the 1.5% deduction on your transactions above 100 Ghana cedis? Or you've completely switched to cash transactions like some have, just to avoid paying the levy? Let's find out how Momo vendors are coping with the current situation since the levy took effect.
The implementation of the 1.5% E-levy, which started on Sunday, May 1, 2022, was done in a modified manner by the implementing agency, the Ghana Revenue Authority, in collaboration with the telecom companies, and began despite a legal action filed at the Supreme Court by the minority in Parliament against the passage of the law granting the collection of the tax, as well as opposition to its implementation from different stakeholders. So what has been the key learnings for key stakeholders like agents after a month of implementation? We hit the streets of the capital to speak with them.
The day that the E-levy issue popped up, many of our customers come for withdrawal. They don't send, and even the deposit, they stop doing the deposit. Let the business come down. In fact, we started closing down some of our shops. We've closed down many of them because of the E-levy. Because you can't go to the shop, sit in the shop, they'll come for withdrawal. You will not send, you will not do deposits. At the end of the month, you will not get anything on it. So we close down the shops. This is the only shop that we are operating for now.
But and this is first, no. I can first, no, it's not sending here more. But you see, no, use more than sending. And at first, it's not more like customers be more buy, more pay more deposits. But some of them, some might deposit be on board say be send the money because of E-levy, no. And you man they say, and this is first, no.
What about the users of the platform, many of whom vehemently opposed its introduction?
But E-levy ne buy ne easy sir. Because we share sika free sika mu a ayana sometimes no kra no untimi hu say odi sika ne two phone so ana say won fancy with them because E-levy ne de emom no boy binu but yes you need the moya kra can the send pa because on say first the rank o send sika ma obi a just ukuchia maka na ka no de akọ enti no sika ne de ntimi nkase ye jaya sen ne send no ye be koso ane asend ne mom e kire say E-levy no e prayen no de e prayen because o hwe sika tifi uko send sika tifi su no a na ususu sen ka e be kura e ka ho a ka e be betimi aso ebusuan okwan bi su ba wo hwe no na ya tie frim na afi no e say ukopɛ sika fufuro bi na san de ko shem
so omusi E-levy no o ye transfer edima obi a e na won tiwo enti me E-levy sati endie me transfer say me send scam obi a I go to the vendor and send it to ignore E-levy paying. I don't send money on my phone again.
Okay.
I go to the vendor and send it to the vendor because when the vendor send the money, they don't take E-levy.
On his part, the CEO of the Ghana Chamber of Telecommunications, Dr. Engineer Kenneth Ashigbe, called for increased education on the E-levy and the review of discriminatory aspects of the levy.
There are some discriminatory, things about the law. If you look at it, for example, if salaries are paid, to your mobile money account, it attracts the levy. If it is paid using your bank, then it does not. That definitely is discriminatory. And we also know that it is when you load up your wallet, either through your salaries or bulk payments, that then you are able to then transact and be able to get, get E-levy paid for government to get its taxes. So those are some of the things that we want to be able to study the data and let the data speak for itself so that we'll be able to engage the policymaker, the Ministry of Finance, and then the regulator to be able to see some of the adjustments that we need to do.
The telecommunications sector has become an integral part of our everyday life. Imagine how handicapped we would be if we could no longer access our phone or the internet.
Data from the National Communications Authority, NCA, at the end of March 2022 showed that the total number of voice subscriptions was 41,481,767, representing a total penetration rate for the month under review of 135.75%. MTN held 61.61% of the voice market share. Vodafone, Airtel, Tigo and Glo, meanwhile, had 18.64%, 17.85% and 1.90% respectively. On the data front, total subscriptions in the country at the end of March 2022 was 23,692,581, representing a penetration rate for the period of 76.94%. MTN held 71.4% of the market share in the month under review. Vodafone, Airtel, Tigo and Glo, on the other hand, held 12.9%, 14.2% and 1.42% market share respectively. In terms of the ownership structure of these companies, government owns 100% of Airtel Tigo and 30% of Vodafone Ghana. Glo is privately owned, while MTN Ghana has about 23% of its stake being owned by Ghanaians. Speaking to City Business News on localization of the telecom sector in the country, Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Chamber of Telecommunications, Dr. Kenneth Ashigbe, urged Ghanaians to treat the sector as their own, as it's increasingly for the people.
You see that the industry itself is now increasingly owned by Ghanaians. So you take Airtel Tigo, which is 100% state-owned, which means you and I own it. Then you have Vodafone that has the state having significant shares also in that. Then you have MTN, where that one is not just the state, but it's also listed on the stock exchange. And it was one of the first, to have done that mass listing, and got used various means, including mobile money, to get people to be able to acquire the shares. And so that is very, very significant, which then means that the ownership of this business is for us, as Ghanaians. And so we need to treat it as our own. And
Dr. Ashigbe meanwhile called for a protection of the sector by all stakeholders at all levels.
This is an industry that we own, and this is an industry that is providing the vehicles to enable us to digitize, to enable us to really leapfrog the development gap that we have. So it is important that all of us see it in that particular sense. And there are positives, that comes out of that, which means that the gains that would come out of the industry would inure to the benefit of, Ghanaians. And it then also behoves on all of us then to also protect the industry. So the issues where we are taxing the industry very severely, the issues where, people are going to cell sites now and, stealing from the cell sites, all of these should be issues that are of concern to us. The issues of fiber cards, how do we then support our own industry to be able to provide us the vehicle to be able to further develop our economy?
As Ghana hosts the African Continental Free Trade Area Secretariat, we must make a conscious effort to take advantage of the many opportunities it presents. One area under the agreement that the country can benefit from is the Fintech space. The Ghana Investment Promotion Center, GIPC, is advocating deepened collaboration between the government and private companies within the Fintech space to ensure Ghana spearheads the drive in the use of digitalization within the AFCFTA.
The fintech sector in Ghana is evolving at a fast pace. One can take loans, make payments, crowdsource and manage financial assets from their mobile phones. Factors that account for this include the increase in the use of digital services and the growing internet penetration rate. Fintech companies play a crucial role in this ecosystem. As part of efforts to enhance the growth of the industry, government, through the Bank of Ghana, set up an office to oversee the growth of fintech and innovation in Ghana's financial service delivery. Despite the growth, the sector still battles generally with increasing fraudulent activities, among others. Speaking at the 2022 Ghana-Israel Fintech Summit in Accra, Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Investment Promotion Center, Yofi Grant, called for deepened collaboration between government and private companies within the fintech space to ensure Ghana spearheads the drive in the use of digitalization, especially within the African Continental Free Trade Area.
From a bigger perspective, the African Continental Free Trade Area, AFTA, can only maximize benefits by leveraging fintech, while collaborations between participating countries is also expected to, in return, grow the continent's fintech space. And in this sphere, I think it's just not the fact that we are the third largest user of fintech, but that Ghana should spearhead a significant drive into the African continent on the use of fintech, because it will bring down the cost of transactions, it will bring about efficiency, and then we'll have a better and common understanding of AFTA than before. For example, the Pan-African Payment and Settlement Systems, which I just spoke about, PAPS, is expected to remedy the problem of having to deal with about 42 currencies in Africa and help to support the implementation of AFTA through centralized payment and settlement infrastructure to create new financial flows and also facilitate trade and other economic activities among the 54 nations.
Israeli ambassador to Ghana, Liberia and Sierra Leone assured of efforts to strengthen the relationship between the Ghanaian and Israeli fintech system to position the sector as an engine of inclusive growth and development.
The Israeli fintech sector, like every other high-tech sector, has taken the lead to develop innovative products that bring the future closer to today. Israeli fintech companies are fearless. They approach innovation with the global market in mind, and we are happy to have with us today 9 of these companies to study and understand the fintech ecosystem in Ghana through this summit. They are also here to find suitable business partners and hopefully be ambassadors for the potential that exists in the fintech industry in Ghana when they go back to Israel. Distinguished guests, the participation of these 9 leading Israeli fintech companies in this summit depicts the great interest that many Israeli companies are showing in doing business in Ghana. From what I have experienced myself in Ghana so far, I am impressed with the Ghanaian innovation ecosystem, and it is the reason we are working tirelessly on all levels, be it government or with the private sector, to strengthen our trade and economic relations to mutually benefit all parties.
A recent report by Imani Center for Policy and Education has disclosed that a total of 13.9 billion Ghana cedis in financial irregularities was recorded between 2015 and 2020 in various government agencies in the country. This was captured in the second Fiscal Recklessness Index 2020 report by the policy think tank. For analysts, this is quite worrying considering the fact that the revenue loss for the period is higher than what the government seeks to raise from some of the new tax policies it introduced.
The Fiscal Recklessness Index report, compiled by Imani with support from Oxfam Ghana, utilized the Auditor General's report to assess the fiscal recklessness of ministries, departments and agencies (MDAs), the source of leakages in the public financial management system, and the identified institutional weaknesses that enable waste of public funds to occur. In the report, the Finance Ministry emerged as the ministry with the highest level of fiscal recklessness between 2015 and 2020. According to the report, the Finance Ministry is responsible for 99.63%, that's 9.1 billion Ghana cedis, of the combined 9.12 billion Ghana cedis tax irregularities from 2015 to 2020. Likewise, the ministry accounted for 80.1%, that is 2.35 billion Ghana cedis, of the combined 2.93 billion Ghana cedi cash irregularities from within the 6-year period. Dennis Asare is a research consultant with Imani.
The recklessness in the spending of ministries and departments appears to be across all the public administration system, or it permeates every aspect of our public financial management. Because if you look at the top 5 institutions, there's Ministry of Finance, that's the Central Management Agency. There's a Social Service Ministry, that's Ministry of Health. There's an infrastructure-led ministry, the Ministry of Roads and Highways, Employment, Foreign Affairs. So it appears that it cuts across every aspect of our public financial management system or of our public administration, and we are not seeing much efficiency on the part of these institutions to address irregularities in their spending. When we did the ranking, it gives us a much more clearer picture. So over the period between 2015 and 2020, the most fiscally reckless institution is the Ministry of Finance, and you see that consistently, except 2020, where the Ministry of Health was the most reckless institution, the Ministry of Finance has consistently been, the Ministry of Finance and its subsidiary agencies have been the most reckless institution, and that is because cash and tax irregularities are the main source of the recklessness in our public financial management system, and they are the sector ministry that manages that, or the institutions under them manage that. That's Controller, Accountants General, and GRE. That is why that also influenced the performance of the Ministry of Finance in terms of their level of recklessness.
The Fiscal Recklessness Index 2020 report further disclosed that a total of 13.9 billion Ghana cedis in financial irregularities were recorded between 2015 and 2020. According to the report, the irregularities covered stores and procurement, cash, tax, payroll, rent and contracts among various ministries, departments and agencies. As part of the Centre's recommendations, Dennis Asare tasked the Attorney General to enforce punitive measures against persons or institutions that are found committing financial irregularities in their line of duty.
Against persons or individuals found to have committed irregularities. And we are yet to see the Attorney General fully pushing or prosecuting a public official for engaging in abuse of the public financial management system. And until we do that, people will never be deterred in terms of how reckless they are or how they use public resources. The Office of the Special Prosecutor is new. However, it has the power to even prosecute procurement-related corruption, which brings the Office of Special Prosecutor into our public financial management system. So the OSP must consistently monitor and follow the work of Parliament and ensure that people cited for clear breaches of the procurement law, the sanctions are applied and the corruption-related cases are prosecuted.
The latest report from the State Interest and Governance Authority, SIGA, on state-owned enterprises indicates that many of such entities fail to present their audited accounts on time. The ranking member on the Employment, Social Welfare and State Enterprises Committee in Parliament, Dr. Kwabena Donko, isn't pleased with this development.
Regulation 2032 of the Public Finance Management Regulations 2019 requires that all state-owned enterprises must submit within 2 months after the financial year, that's on February 28th, the unaudited annual financial statements. The law also requires that each SOE must submit within 3 months end of each financial year, that's by 31st March, the audited financial statements to the relevant sector minister and the State Interest and Governance Authority. But according to the ranking member on the Employment, Social Welfare and State Enterprises Committee in Parliament, Dr. Kwabena Donko, most of these SOEs fail to submit their accounts for auditing at the right time. Speaking to City Business News, he described the situation as worrying.
One of the things running through, and that was why we had this engagement with the Auditor General, one of the things running through, a number of them, is the late submission of audited accounts. A number of them do not even have their 2018 accounts audited. Others, they don't have their 2019, 2020, 2021 accounts audited. And the disturbing thing is that a number of these are companies. And by the Companies Act, latest by June the next year, audited accounts should be ready. And this has permeated the whole body fabric to the extent that even some constitutional bodies, like the Electoral Commission, do not have their 2019 audited accounts. And that is typical of the broad public sector space. Others were even fighting with the Auditor General that they should be allowed to appoint their own auditors.
Dr. Kwabena Donko further disclosed that most of these institutions are not even profitable.
About 3 weeks ago, when Koforidua, the committee, we met a number of state agencies, including Cocoa Board, GMPC, Gridco, ECG, VRA, etc. The position and what is of worrying to most of us on the committee is the unprofessional attitude towards the management of state resources. Indeed, of the entities we met, about 15 of them, there was just one entity that made profits. TDC was the only one of that made profits. And we'll continue our engagement with them. There are now, under the SIGA Act, Act 990, there are 198 state-owned enterprises and other entities on the SIGA register. And therefore, it's a Herculean tax.
Responsible small-scale mining is set to receive a major boost in the country as the sector ministry has announced the outdooring of 100 mercury-free gold processing equipment to be given to small-scale and community miners. This is also expected to help ensure Ghana's landscape restoration from the activities of illegal mining.
The widespread devastation of water bodies, such as River and Cobra and Pra, as well as landscape across the western region and beyond by illegal small-scale mining in the country, led to the Ghana Landscape Restoration and Small-Scale Mining Project. Speaking at a stakeholders consultative meeting in Takwa to find ways of addressing the menace, a Deputy Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, George Mrikuduka, said the Ghana Landscape Restoration and Small-Scale Mining Project is key to the ministry's agenda in sanitizing the sector.
It is very refreshing to state that 100 gold catchers have been procured and will be commissioned on June 6, 2022 at the Independence Square, Accra, by His Excellency, the President of the Republic. In addition to the above, we have revamped community mining scheme as an alternative to illegal and irresponsible small-scale mining, instituted also a small-scale mining award scheme to encourage and promote responsible, viable, and sustainable small-scale mining practices. And for this reason, the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources, under the able leadership and direction of the Sector Minister, Honorable Samuel A. Jinapo, we have adopted several policies to promote responsible small-scale mining. We have also resourced and retooled the Minerals Commission to effectively perform its regulatory functions, declared river bodies and forest reserves as red zones for mining.
The National Project Coordinator for the Ghana Landscape Restoration and Small-Scale Mining Project, John Kingsley Krugu, highlighted some of the key benefits of the project.
Landscape restoration and small-scale mining project, as its names go, is to be able to restore degraded lands and also address all the issues that has to do with small-scale mining, and some of them we have to address the water bodies that are dirty. You see the color of the water bodies. So a number of interventions. For example, there is going to be speedboats that will patrol the river bodies. Again, there is going to be river guards. You know, we have forest guards, but for the first time there's going to be river guards that would also patrol the water bodies. In addition to that, a third intervention will be drones that will monitor. So the combination of drones monitoring from aerospace and then speedboats and then river guards, we think that we'll be able to deal with the issue of the nature of our river bodies.
Since the start of the Russia-Ukraine war, there has been a global concern of a shortage of fertilizer, as the countries are major sources of inputs for manufacturing the commodity. In Ghana, there have been many calls for the adoption of organic fertilizer as an alternative, and it seems the Ministry of Food and Agriculture is walking the talk.
Government's efforts at transforming the country's agriculture sector depends to a great extent on the availability of fertilizer as well as improved seeds. Unfortunately, there has been a setback in terms of what is happening on the global stage with Russia and Ukraine, leading to a shortage of inorganic fertilizer, a commodity that Ghana is largely dependent on. Food prices have shot up due to the unavailability of the product for farmers. Already, there has been calls by stakeholders, including the Ghana Cocoa Board, urging farmers to make good use of organic fertilizers as substitutes. However, speaking during a facility tour at the Accra Compost Recycling Plant, the Minister of Food and Agriculture, Dr. Owusu Akoto, indicated that it has resolved to fully invest in the production of organic fertilizers in the country.
Last week, I invited all producers, suppliers of organic fertilizer to my office. We had a very, very good meeting. And the outcome of that meeting was that we have huge potential to encourage production of organic fertilizer in Ghana, that because of the acute shortage of inorganic fertilizer, we have to look within ourselves to see what we can do to replace, or at least attempt to replace, part of the shortage. And that is organic fertilizer. Demand in Ghana by our farmers is about 600,000 inorganic, 600,000 metric tons of inorganic. The equivalent of organic to that is only about 30,000 metric tons. So far, that's the capacity. But it shows you the huge potential that this country has for organic fertilizer. And not only that, the product of application of organic fertilizer is organic food, which has a huge premium on the international market.
The facility tour saw the minister witness how solid waste is transformed into organic fertilizer. In reaction, the minister added that the support of investors will help the country in its attempt to produce organic fertilizer on a large scale.
This, we are appealing to those that we met, their competitors that we met last week. Some of them are importing organic fertilizer. We told them the policy is to encourage their partners abroad to come and set up here to use local organic material as input, because we have a lot of it. I mean, the Savannah belt, in the forest belt, in the middle of the country, the southern part of the country, there's a whole lot of organic material that can be used as input. And the government is determined to promote the application. That is why Mr. Siame is here. The whole extension service of the ministry will be reoriented to be able to train them in the use of organic fertilizer so they can work along with our farmers in trying to apply organic fertilizers on our fields.
City TV is live on DSTV. Go to channel 363. On GoTV, access City TV on channel 182. On a digital TV, please press the menu button on the remote control and run a new search on your TV. Take note that without an antenna, you cannot access City TV on your television. City TV can be accessed on a free-to-air digital box like the GoTV and Star Times box. City TV, it's your world.
We turn our attention to the banking sector, and it appears some banks in the country had a very good year in 2021, despite the lingering impact of the COVID-19 pandemic, as they have been announcing very impressive profits and dividends for their shareholders.
The 5% growth in revenue recorded for the 2021 financial year shows a consistent 5-year trend of profitable growth. Operating costs increased from 288 million Ghana cedis to 382 million Ghana cedis, driven by investments in 2021 to ensure seamless work-from-home arrangements and the impact of inflation on general operating costs. This resulted in a profit before tax of 695 million Ghana cedis compared to the 675 million cedis recorded in 2021. The bank's balance sheet also remained healthy and grew significantly by 26% from 8 billion Ghana cedis in 2020 to 10.1 billion Ghana cedis in 2021. Chief Executive Officer of Standard Chartered Bank Ghana PLC, Mansa Neti, speaking during the bank's 52nd annual general meeting, said the growth in the year under review proves that her outfit is on track to achieve their medium to long-term objectives.
While we achieved a modest growth in revenue and operating profits in 2021, our results show a consistent 5-year trend of profitability and sustained growth at a compounded annual rate of 12%. Our profitability matrices and the value we give to you, our shareholders, remain robust with strong outcomes on return on equity and earnings per share. This gives us confidence that we are making good progress on our strategic priorities and are on track to achieve our medium to long-term objectives.
Despite the many gains gotten in the 2021 financial year, the bank's profit after tax saw an 8% drop from 4.78 million Ghana cedis in 2020 to 4.36 million Ghana cedis. In spite of this, Standard Chartered declared dividend on ordinary shares of 1 cedi 84 pesos for the 2021 financial year compared to 1 cedi 74 pesos paid in the previous year. Dr. Emmanuel Otenkuma, the board chairman of Standard Chartered Bank Ghana PLC, sought to explain the reason behind this move.
What motivated that is the idea that we think shareholders deserve part of our good performance. So the reason why our profit after tax declined was because part of our profit reflects the underlying business activities that we are undertaking. So although it dropped, we felt that there was enough revenue to be able to compensate for that, and so we proposed that we increase the returns to our shareholders, and that's something that we do when we think that it's a good idea.
It isn't just the banks that have been declaring profits. The telcos have also been at it. MTN Ghana announced the payment of a final dividend of 11.5 pesos per share to be paid to its shareholders for the 2021 financial year.
At the 4th annual general meeting of MTN Ghana, board chairman of the company, Ishmael Yamson, noted that MTN Ghana recorded a strong growth in service revenue and managed its costs prudently, which led to a growth in profits after tax of 43.5% to hit 2 billion Ghana cedis. He noted that after reviewing the full-year performance of the company in 2021, the board has decided to pay a final dividend of 11.5 pesos per share to its shareholders.
In 2021, MTN Ghana recorded strong growth in service revenue and managed its costs prudently, leading to growth in profit after tax of 43.5% year-on-year to 2 billion Ghana cedis. After reviewing the full-year performance of the company in 2021, the board shall be recommending a final dividend of 8.5 pesos on ordinary shares to be approved by shareholders at today's meeting. This is further addition to the interim dividend of 3 pesos per share declared by the board and paid after reviewing the half-year performance of the company. This therefore brings the total dividend for the year, if the resolution is approved today, to 11.5 pesos per share and represents 70.6% of profit after tax.
Speaking at the same event, Chief Executive Officer of MTN Ghana, Seloma Dadivo, also outlined the company's strategy to drive growth and efficiencies in their business on the back of rising macroeconomic challenges.
Looking ahead, in 2022, our areas of focus include improving customer experience across all services and regions to further enhance subscriber growth and usage of our services. We also plan to expand our 4G and 4G Plus service by implementing 4G everywhere you go by the end of 2022. We also plan to scale up our efforts in the digitization journey with a focus on MyMTN and the Ayoba Super App. Mobile money ecosystem expansion will also be a key focus for us through innovations in advanced services, and will work to deepen the penetration of Momo users within the base. We forecast revenue growth in the high teens over the medium term from previous guidance of 13 to 15%. In addition, we will progress the execution of the expense efficiency program and our prudent approach to managing costs to deliver on our commitment of margin expansion. Execution of our Ambition 2025 strategy will continue as we seek to build a platform business that enables broader digital ecosystem acceleration. We expect to make considerable progress on localization of Scancom PLC and its subsidiary, Mobile Money Limited.
The 2022 City Business Festival is here, and for those who have followed over the years, you know how insightful the entire event is, especially for business owners. And this year will be no different. If you have never followed the festival, Our next video will help you understand what the entire event is about and what you should expect.
The City Business Festival has been accepted and rated as one that explores the possibilities for business in the new business ecosystem as the world approaches the fourth industrial revolution. The managing director of City FM and City TV, Samuel Atamensa, has been speaking on the need to be a part of the 2022 City Business Festival.
The topics have been chosen carefully to suit the changing phases of business. I'm sure it's safe to say that we are in a post-COVID. Having seen what we saw in the last year and a half, I think it's safe to say that we are coming out of it. Yeah. And so how do we reorganize business? And most of the topics are geared towards re-energizing people to put themselves together. Changing phases of global economy, how it's impacting on businesses at the local level, and all these things are catered for.
Lead sponsor for the 2022 edition of the City Business Festival, Absa Bank, has charged the entire business community to take advantage of the platform to reinvigorate their operations as the economic activity picks up in Ghana and the rest of the world. Head of Corporate Communications at Absa Bank Ghana, Ebenezer Amankwa, highlights why this year's City Business Festival, like previous ones, will offer value for money for businesses.
It's a platform that would transform your outlook altogether. We have a lot of case studies, even for our own customers and clients who have come out because of what the festival affords and how they have been able to transform their businesses. A diversity of topics from 2020 till now is an ongoing process. And for this year, as Samens has read out the topics, you have no place to go than to stay glued to City, because we would give you the empowerment, we would give you hope for a new opening as far as your business is concerned and your transformation.
The City Business Festival will run throughout the month of June on City TV and 97.3 City FM. The first week of the 2022 City Business Festival will hinge on the subject Reimagine the Digital Economy, and on Tuesday, 31st May 2022, a forum will be held live on City TV at 11 a.m. on the topic. Samuel Atamensa shares some other activities lined up for the City Business Festival.
We also have what we call the CD Summit, which is a summit, a one-day summit that we have put together, collaborating, of course, with our default partner, ABSA, and IES for the 23rd of this month again, which is like how Ghana should respond to the squeeze of the global economic downturn.
The 2022 City Business Festival is powered by City TV and 97.3 City FM, with Absa Bank as the main sponsor. It is also supported by MTN Momo and MTN Business Support, IT Consortium, and the Ghana Investment Promotion Center.
There has been a lot of informative discussions this week as part of the City Business Festival on radio and television. And we have put together highlights for you on this week's topic on reimagining the digital economy.
Speaking during the discussion, Acting Chief Enablement and Information Officer at Absa Bank, Justice Amegashi, encouraged businesses to adopt technological solutions to benefit immensely from the digital space.
It tackles the inefficiencies that we have with the traditional setting. So for entrepreneurs, like I was saying, that reach and that online presence is something that, it's enormous, and the entrepreneurs have to take advantage of. I think the other is the ability to scale quickly, which I was alluding to. The traditional setting, you need to set up the brick and mortar investments, possibly need to come to a bank, a loan, etc., right? But compare that to being able to set it in one fell swoop. I think the third for me when it comes to entrepreneurs is that now with all of this, you have the opportunity to innovate, okay? And innovation in the sense that you're offering a service. You're definitely going to be having feedback from your customers. new ideas, opinions, and how you could do things better. Digital allows you, by you being or you having an online presence, to solicit that feedback much quicker, much easier, get insights from these feedback, and then improve your process, as it were.
Taking a stand during the panel discussion, Chief Executive Officer of MTN Ghana's Mobile Money Limited, Eli Hine, reiterated the need for businesses to ensure they constantly innovate to stay relevant.
Without creating or evolving yourself, you would lose, first of all, the touch that you have with your customer, because your customer has moved on and you are still where you are. You must come along. So you must also look at what the customer needs are, because it keeps changing. Today, the customer is looking at paying for services digitally.
Yes.
And you are still in the analog state. The customer will move on. Okay, so you'd have the service, but someone is providing the same service but giving the customer convenience. So you then need to see, okay, how do I evolve? How do I bring a different form of making payment for that takes the customer to where he wants to be and creates that convenience? But if you don't do that, but another entrepreneur providing the same service has elevated to that level, what will happen is immediately access to that service has changed. And then also in terms of the channels that you are reaching the customer, that also then changes the number of customers you are interacting with at the same time.
However, Chief Executive Officer of IT Consortium Romeo Bujay noted that for the desired level of digitalized penetration in the country, fundamental factors and measures must be instituted.
We all know that government is the biggest employer in this country and also a spender, if I should say. Mm-hmm. And government is supposed to give service to citizens. Some of the services that government wants to give to the citizens, if we don't have a means by which we can consume it, then the citizens can't benefit.
Right.
So if you want to maybe get some information from government, and you have to go to the government office to get that information, that immediately creates inefficiency. Mm-hmm. And that's, I guess, I go there and my paper will be lost. Okay. But if I can go online and the back end of that government services has been digitized, then I will be able to have access to it.
The head of Fintech and Innovation at the Bank of Ghana, Kwame Opong, on his part, called on the government to create an enabling environment for digitalization in the country to thrive.
I think it's important to make the point that government's policy environment creates that enabling environment that guides this process, because ultimately government leads these efforts, and has to, whether from behind or from in front, government as a standard, as part of this process, has to guide that process, and there are different components to that, right? So there are various policy interventions that could look at different aspects of it. So you mentioned financial inclusion. Ghana actually has a national financial inclusion and development strategy. Out of that, there's a digital financial service policy that has been developed. There is a Ghana digitization roadmap that has been developed out of the digital financial service policy that has detailed, and that's actually an implementation document that has detailed what exactly needs to be done. It includes ensuring interoperability, having a government payment platform, which we recently saw with Ghana.gov, and we're seeing the benefits of that, and several elements of it. And if you work your way back through all these documents, you see a clear blueprint of a vision of how we get to that destination.
This week's edition of the City Business Festival focuses on the theme, Reimagining the Digital Economy. Technological adoption has become crucial in the operations of most businesses, and those who do not make enough effort to adopt it risk losing relevance. However, with the issue of digitalization comes the concern of cost. But speaking on the topic, transforming your business using digital technology as part of the month-long City Business Festival, the Chief Technology Officer of IT Consortium, Ebo Anamwa Mensah, stressed that this does not necessarily have to be expensive.
It doesn't have to be.
And our company started its journey by digitizing processes for enterprises. And the first time we did this, it was a lecturer who came and asked for help for his assistant to create a template in a word processor so that he could capture, there'll be a consistency in the report for his assessments, right? That's a very simple process. Today, there are templates out there you can just download and utilize. And that didn't have to cost money. He already had the tool that he was using, and he just needed it formatted in a way to utilize. So it doesn't have to be expensive. Fortunately, in our economy today, we have tools that businesses can use for free. And as your business scales and needs more of that tool or resources of that tool, then you start paying. So there are a lot of tools out there that you get for free. Anybody today who uses, has a Gmail account, has a host of other products and services that Google offers that you won't have to pay for, but that are valuable to your business.
Mr. Anamwa Mensah further added that for businesses to get value for money and maximize their investment in technological advancement, they must adequately research into which solutions are best fit for them.
If you're a school, for instance, and you want to be able to keep track of your students, their activities, their results, there are software solutions that address that. And some of those solutions, like solutions we also provide, help you manage the student record from the time they're admitted till they graduate. And like I mentioned before, a lot of these solutions don't even require you, the business, to come up with the money. No. Often it is the users of the solution that pay. So if there's soft POS, it is the one who's paying you, who is paying a service fee that goes to pay for the solution. Or if it's a school, for instance, it's probably the students as they pay their fees or subscribe to certain service that pay. So there are solutions out there that can help your business digitize that costs you very little. But obviously, as you grow, you might need a more complex solution. And that's when you are ready to invest a lot more money into a solution that does even a lot more. But there are some solutions that would grow as you scale, and so they will still meet your need when you move from small to medium to large.
The 2020 edition of the City Business Festival is mainly sponsored by Absa Bank with support from MTN Momo and MTN Business Support, Ghana Investment Promotion Center, IT Consortium, and GESAL.
So those were some very interesting conversations from the City Business Festival. If you missed out on any of them, you can catch them on our SoundCloud account at City 97.3, or you go to our Facebook page where we've streamed all of the videos there for you. This week we'll focus on resetting your MSME business after COVID-19. So keep your dial locked on 97.3 City FM and on City TV for all of such conversation. Well, our time is up for this week's edition for the Business Weekly Show here on City TV. For more business news stories, check out our website, citybusinessnews.com, or don't miss out on the Business Dashboard, which airs on City TV at 10 p.m. sharp every weekday, with a repeat the following day at 7 and 10:30 a.m. My name is Michael Obodu. Please follow me on Twitter at @mobodu. Catch you same time next week. Stay safe, stay informed, and bye-bye.